So I want to pivot real quick. I said we were going to start with the top 10 news stories of Mississippi, but we got such a great text on the Guns in Your text line, which that number's, this is how you, the audience, can dictate this show, because I'm like a cat chasing a laser. If I see something that piques my interest more than what I was going to do, we're going to do that. I got a text on the Guns in Your text line that said, what about celebrity deaths? And I Googled, or I used Grok, and I said, Grok, top celebrity deaths. So we're going to do top celebrity deaths of 2025 right now. We're calling an audible, and that is how much of an influence you, the listener, can have on this show. Listener, shoot me your name so I can give you credit for that, by the way, because they're an unknown texter. But what they said was this. They said, what celebrity death this year were you most saddened about? They said probably Ozzy for me. And I'll never forget where I was when I found out Ozzy died. I was sitting at McBee's eating lunch in the bar area, and I don't remember who I was with. Was Ozzy was on a Saturday. I was with Sutton McRae. We were getting ready to go over to the PGA tournament here in Jackson. And I got the notification and I said it out loud. And 3 or 4 complete strangers around me was like, what? Ozzy just died? And the whole place kind of had a public moment of mourning together. It was really cool that people that didn't even know each other kind of had a moment of sadness together. And then we all got to talking immediately, like, man, he just had that last concert last week. And he literally played his last show and died. I mean, that's a storybook ending. Most people don't get to do that. Most people die before their last show. You know what I mean? Like, they'll book it and they think they hope the timing works out, and it never does. I mean, Ozzy got to have that last moment on stage. It sucked. I mean, let's just be honest. It was terrible, but you know what? It didn't matter. Nobody was expecting it to be good. It was just to get to see him do it. It was awesome. I've watched all that concert back and just, it was really emotional, especially watching it back after he died. So I asked Grok what the top deaths were, and I'm just going to tell you what mine was. Mine was Hulk Hogan. As much as I love Ozzy, Hogan 1A, Ozzy 1B. Coin toss. I mean, if I'm listening to Ozzy on the radio, I may change my mind and say Ozzy. But according to Grok, here were the top deaths of 2025. So we'll start with the most recent. We know this was not one that Trump did not pour out any liquor for Rob Reiner. But you had Rob Reiner. He just died here on December 14th. Was murdered by him and his wife were murdered by his son, Nick, or allegedly, of course. You had Bridget Bardot. She just passed away. She was a famed actress, iconic sex symbol of the 1950s. Dick Cheney, another one that most conservatives are not pouring out any liquor over. Former vice president under George Bush. He was 84 years old. Bridget Bardot was 91. Rob Reiner was 78. We do have the ages here. Jimmy Cliff. He was a reggae pioneer with hits like The Harder They Come and I Can See Clearly Now. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. He was 81 years old. He died on November 24th. Had a seizure followed by pneumonia. June Lockhart, a golden age actress from Lassie, Lost in Space, and Petticoat Junction. She was 100 years old. She lived a great life. She died of natural causes. Look, if you make it to 100, I don't care if you had a heart attack, a brain seizure, or if it was self-inflicted. You died of natural causes, in Clay Edwards' opinion. You make it to 100, you've defied the odds, and whatever happens to you, I don't care if you stepped out in front of traffic. That was natural causes. You don't get to commit suicide at 100 years old. You've defied all odds, whatever caused you to think it was you get a free pass. Like they say, if you commit suicide, you go to hell. I think if you make it to 100 and you decide to commit suicide, you know what? God, give that person a pass. Like, how long are you going to make them wait to get to cross the Rainbow Bridge? Just let them fast. Can they get a fast pass? Do we get a fast pass here? They've been here a whole century. That's punishment in and of itself. Anyhow, Diane Keaton, passed away on October 11th. She was 79 years old. She was an Oscar winner for Annie Hall. Says Oscar winner for Annie Hall. Starred in the Godfather trilogy, Something's Got to Give, and The Book Club. We all know who Diane Keaton is. Her cause of death was unknown, or it's just not specified. Now, look, I love 90s R&B. Love 90s R&B. D'Angelo just passed away back on October 14th. He was 51 years old. He was known for his hit Brown Sugar and Voodoo. He was influential in the neo-soul genre. He was only 51 years old. He had pancreatic cancer. Guys, get out and get checked. Get checked. I mean, that's why I love having a general physician like over at Men's Health in Mississippi, Dr. Michael Walker. You know, I went over there and I got checked the other day, son. I got all my blood work done, got everything. Your boy appears to be in good health. Get checked, man. I got to go get anally violated here soon, and get a colonoscopy again. Ugh, not looking forward to it. But anyway, Robert Redford, next on the list. September 16th, he died at 89 years old, man. We all know who Robert Redford is. He was an Oscar-winning actor, director, The Sting, All the President's Men, Out of Africa. He was founder. I didn't know this. He was founder of the Sundance Film Festival. Not known how he died, but he died at his home in Sundance, Utah. I remember that now. Wasn't there some questions about that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, next up, this is my number one. Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, July 24th. He died at 71 years old, man. Really sad. Y'all know who Hulk Hogan is. I ain't got to tell you. He was a WWE icon. He was in 10 WrestleMania main events. He was in Rocky III, reality TV. Founder of the NWO. Come on, you know who Hogan is. He had a heart attack. He had a history of chronic lymphatic leukemia. His death is shrouded in controversy as well. His doctor malpractice, allegedly, of course. All right, here was another one, man. If you're a 90s, if you're a Gen X kid, you're a baby you were born in the late 70s, early 80s. Malcolm Jamal Warner. This one hit hard. This was the son on the Cosby Show. Theo Huxtable. Man, really sad. Really, really sad. He drowned on a family trip in Costa Rica back on July 20th. Rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. All of our Catholic friends out there. Your Pope died. Pope Francis. April 21st. He was 88 years old. Died one day after Easter Sunday. Here's another one, man. Top Gun fans. 80s babies. Doc Holliday. Val Kilmer. He was Doc Holliday, wasn't he? He also played in The Doors, Batman Forever. He had an amazing documentary called Val. You need to find it. Just look on Amazon Prime for the Val Kilmer documentary, and he produced it. You need to watch it. It is really, really good. How about George Foreman? I didn't realize George Foreman died. I knew he died. I didn't realize that it was just this year. Back on March 21st, man, former heavyweight boxing champion. Kids, George Foreman is more than just a grill. He was the beast. All right, we're just going to run down, hit the rest of these real quick because we got to take a break. Robert Flack. He was an R&B legend. Michelle Thatchenberg. She was a child star from Harriet the Spy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was only 39 years old. Gene Hackman, Oscar winner. The French Connection, Unforgiven, Superman, The Royal Tenenbaums, and Hoosiers. Hoosiers was one of my favorite movies ever. Gene Hackman was 95 years old. And the surrealist filmmaker behind Twin Peaks, Blue Velvet, and Mulholland Drive, David Lynch. Man, he made some iconic films, didn't he? David Lynch died, 78 years old. Those are your celebrity deaths of 2025. Is there one that we missed? Maybe somebody that flew a little under the radar? Let me know in the comments on the live stream, on the Mazda Jackson live stream, or the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. What was the saddest celebrity death of 2025 to you? All right, when we come back, let's hit the top news stories of Mississippi in 2025. Welcome back in, and I'm just going to jump straight into it. How the hell did Grok miss Charlie Kirk and Ace Frehley? thank you to my Guns and Gear texters. Unknown texter for reminding me about Ace Frehley, and Reagankin for mentioning Charlie Kirk. First, shame on me. I should have just caught that, but I was just reading the list and just missed it. And then Ace Frehley, Space Ace. I'm not the biggest Kiss fan. I love the theatrics of Kiss. And if I was like as old as Chip Matthews, I would probably be a much bigger Kiss fan. But like Poison was my Kiss. Poison was my generation's Kiss. You know, it was all about the makeup, the look, the music. Poison's a much better band than Kiss. I don't think anybody can argue that. I mean, Poison's had much bigger hits than Kiss ever will. Just musically, a much better band. But Kiss is the coolest, loudest band in the world. And of course, Poison were huge Kiss fans. I mean, I've got a Poison vinyl from back in the day that was never released to the public. It's fluorescent green. It didn't even the sleeve it came in didn't even have any print on it. It just had a sticker with their logo, and it had rock and roll. It had their live version of Rock and Roll All Night on it. I think it was live. Anyway, so I mean, Poison's version of Rock and Roll All Night's better than Kiss's. You know, sometimes the original is in fact not the best. But I say all that to say this: none of our favorite bands would exist if it weren't for Kiss. You know, we always spend all this time giving bands like the Beatles all this credit. Oh, we wouldn't have rock and roll if we didn't have the Beatles. The Beatles are the most overrated band of all time. I said it. The most overrated band of all time. Now, are they the most influential? I don't know. I mean, I'm not enough of a Kiss historian to tell you did Kiss, were they inspired by the Beatles? Would Kiss exist with or without the Beatles? You know, so I'll give them their credit and say that maybe you would have never got hard rock if the Beatles hadn't have done it first. I don't know. You know, I need to go back and look at the timeline, but you know, I still give the credit to Elvis. Elvis invented rock and roll. I mean, I know he stole it, you know, sort of from black folks. I mean, I'll give the devil their due, but Elvis took it mainstream, and Elvis always gave credit. Elvis always gave credit to where he was influenced by. So, and I don't know. I mean, people are allowed to have influences. Like if you have an influence of something, you don't have to pay the person by being influenced by them. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Can't believe I left off Charlie Kirk. John Bond, good morning, brother. Good morning, John Bond. John says, Grok and the others miss a lot of things, and he agrees with me on the Beatles. Hell State. So we got a couple minutes left here. Charlie Kirk, that goes without saying. I can't believe we missed Charlie Kirk on that list. That was shameful. And Grok to be Elon Musk AI, the free speech platform, the only AI I really trust, kind of blindly trust, not blindly, because it gets a lot of stuff wrong that I have to correct it for, but I give it the benefit of the doubt because it does correct it and it doesn't argue. But man, to have missed Charlie Kirk, let's see here. Did I still have it pulled up? Let's ask Grok how the hell it missed Charlie Kirk. How the heck did you forget Charlie Kirk and Ace Frehley? There we go. Let's see what Grok's excuse is for this. We got 2 hours this morning. We're not on a time. We're not on a schedule here, really. I want to know how we missed this. I'm insulted. I'm offended. Everybody's offended about something nowadays. I'm offended. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944 if you guys want to jump in on anything. Let's read a few texts while it's coming up with its answer here. All right, I think we're caught up there. Okay, so here's Grok's excuse. It says, you're absolutely right. I did miss Charlie Kirk and Ace Frehley in my initial roundup of notable 2025 deaths. That was an oversight on my part while pulling from year-end summaries and high-impact lists. Their passings were significant, but didn't always top every aggregated recap I referenced initially. Upon double checking with more targeted sources, here's the scoop on both, including why they qualify as major losses. I'll add them chronologically to a quick supplemental table in context alongside the others. Now, here's where Grok is right. They were not, I like the quote here. That was an oversight on my part while pulling from year-end summaries and high-impact lists. Their passings were significant, but didn't always top every aggregated recap I referenced initially. That means we have all this liberal media out there, all these liberal lists, these buzz feeds. I saw it, like, it looked at BuzzFeed. You can kind of see what it's referencing if you're watching live time while it's answering your question. You can see the references it's using. Of course, BuzzFeed isn't going to reference Charlie Kirk as a top death. They want to pretend that didn't happen because one of their trans-loving nut jobs killed him. Anyway, I could go on and on about that. Let's hit a couple of these top